Paltrocast.
Mario, Mandela, pleasure to be speaking with both of you, to say the least. So many things I want to ask, but before I do that, small talk reasons. How are you doing today? Mandela first.
I'm doing good. Just got back to LA, sunny, not raining. I was expecting it to be really, really rainy, so it's a good time. Looking forward to getting some Mexican food after this with Pops. And yeah, I'm having a good day. Movies coming out March 1st. What about you, man?
I'm enjoying myself. It's not every day you get to do press with your kid, talk shit about movies you like and didn't like, and wear a cowboy hat, and he's got his, what is it? Oh yeah, Homeland Security, and he's got his Prince shirt on. I feel it, you know.
Well, I don't have the movie swag. Mario, do you get movie swag made for all of your movies?
They make it. Usually they make it, and this is a pretty dope one. That's really, let me hear it.
Yeah, I'll say commercially sold or limited edition.
Limited as far as I know, but you should inquire because inquiring minds want to know. So why not?
Up here. Well, rewinding a little bit, the last time I had the pleasure, I can't speak today, the pleasure of speaking with you, Mario, it was for a clear shot 4 years or so ago. And every project that you said was coming up, like the Salt and Pepper one, happened. Was this one in the works back then, the 4-ish years ago?
Probably. I was, there's different Marios, and let me elaborate on that. So the writer Mario kind of writes quietly, and usually 3 a.m, the voices come, and I go, oh, down. And so I'll get ideas. And there was a circle that I was interested in. I was like, wait, who gave me my first lines ever in a feature film? And it was my dad. And then I thought, wait a minute. Technically, I gave him his last lines in a feature film. I was starting to think about the circle of that, and I was starting to think about Boy Named Sue, the Johnny Cash song, and it's sort of so an idea might circle around in my head, but that Mario's at 3 o'clock in the morning, so it's not even recorded yet, right? It's just sort of floating, and then little by little, I'll start to creatively assemble the pieces, and it'll come together and go, wow, shit, this is a fun movie idea. And I know someone who's been practicing being my son for a few years and can ride a horse.
Over there, yeah.
Right. And when I did Posse, I had my dad. I didn't have kids, and now that I have, now that I'm doing this one and I have my kids, I don't have my dad. And so I thought it was interesting, connective tissue, in the legacy of that, from Melvin to Mario to Mandela, to that, and to play it out. And I like that we didn't, as he said in an earlier interview, which I really like, was we didn't have to fake the love, and we didn't have to fake the conflict. So if there was characters with conflict, he could take conflict that was in some other part of our lives and apply it to this, and I could do the same, and then we could also have that there. So you have the complexities, and then you get smart people like John Carroll Lynch and Whoopi Goldberg and Emmett Walsh and Neil McDonough and on and on and on, and it just Edward James Olmos, and it becomes a mad fun party. And I give each one of those actors, each one of those characters, and they deserve it, their moment, their intros, so it's not just getting great people in, it's giving them their moment, including Alan Payne.
Right, just a few Academy Award winners in there, just a few. Now, man, do you remember the first time you saw Posse? Were you force-fed it? Or did you go, I'm not going to see any of my father's work because this is boring and that's my dad?
No. I've always had the pleasure of being pretty close to the business, and whether that be visiting them on set or traveling with them to see the releases in different parts of the world. But I love watching Posse. I think it's cool. You get to see your dad doing different stuff. So it's like,
your dad and your granddad.
Yeah. It's like an action figure of your dad being solo, or the cowboy, or even Los Locos. I remember, all kind of good ones. So I think what he's doing for a living, and I've gotten the pleasure of growing up watching and I guess following in his footsteps, is one of the more interesting ways to shape the world and how people view it.
Do you remember the first time you saw Posse? Around what age you were?
No, no.
Probably too early, but
It happened. And kudos to you, Mario, on the casting, not just for the name value, but showing that comedians generally are the best actors out there. Do you remember the first star who was attached to Outlaw Posse?
oh wow, good question. It just started coming together pretty quickly. I talked to Cedric early on. Yeah, Cedric, I think, was the first one. I had directed Cedric in something, and I thought, he's got, and no pun intended, he's got some gravitas, some heft, and not afraid to be directed and take some chances. So I think Cedric was the first one, and a lot of the people were people I had directed or acted with, or come across in life in some way, which is a lot of fun. Um, and I wanted smart people that could really three-dimensionalize their roles. That you felt when you met John Carroll Lynch that you knew who that character was. He knew who that character was. That when even if they're just in the beginning of the movie, you meet Emmett Walsh and Cam Gigante and Neil McDonough, and those are three guys that could carry a Western easily themselves. So you open frame going, whoa, that's what you're opening with? And you keep it going throughout. And then you get a ride with Whoopi. And then, the guy handling the dynamite is Alan Payne. And the guy who's the mayor is Cedric. And the guy who's dry goods store is, Edward James Olmos. And so it goes on. But then also you give them something to do. When Edward comes out and we say, oh, we're in the middle of his dry goods store in the middle of nowhere, and we've gotten the horses have gone missing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're a multi-culti posse. And we come in and go, the horses are gone.
Multi-culti Posse.
Yeah. And he starts.
I've never heard that abbreviation said before. Yeah. Multi-culti Posse.
He starts cracking up and he goes, I could have told you that. The originals will liberate your horses. Who? The what? He goes, yeah, the Indians. Because these particular natives don't think human beings have the right to own any of God's critters. Now, before you get mad, these are the same Indians that set my wife free when she was born enslaved. And that's why we built our dry goods store right here. And so as a multi-culti, since you like my new word.
Yeah, I do.
To hear that, that's a bit of a mind blower. You go, how do I process that? You know what I mean? And then we've got to hitch a ride with none other than Stagecoach Marion, and she's got her whole dynamic. And so each character, the power dynamics continue to shift as a good. I like Iliad and the Odyssey, and that you're following Homer through these series of crazy events, but somehow it gets there. And I like that. I like that you go, I'm seeing stuff I've never seen in a Western. I'm seeing Butch and Sundance like I've never seen them, and I'll never see them again. For example, when you saw it, did you know that was DC Young Fly?
I did, because I read the credits and I go, oh, okay. I know a lot of people in this movie. Therefore, I'm going to watch this movie. That's the kind of person that I am, unfortunately.
But did you know that was him robbing the bank?
I didn't know until I went on IMDb and went, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Because it's not often you get to see a black guy robbing a bank with a white dude in whiteface. And when we did it, DC said, okay, if I'm going to be Butch and Sundance, I want to be the Robert Redford character with the blonde hair.
It's a reverse Al Jolson, I guess you could say.
Absolutely. Although we start out with the other version of that. You got to drop one shoe and then drop the other.
I totally get it. So this is a new movie to us, an old movie to you two. Mandela, are we allowed to know where we're going to see you next, what we're going to see you in, or do we just have to wait for the Hollywood Reporter to say it's okay to learn now?
It's always okay to learn that. I think I can let you know a couple new news though. Reginald the Vampire season 2. That's going to be coming out March 8th, I believe. So it should be a fun one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just wait for the Hollywood Reporter, I guess.
Or are we following you on Instagram to learn? What's the way that we best keep up on you, the latest and the greatest?
Not really big on the socials, so yeah, just like this. We got to just talk, man. Let's do another one of these.
Hey, you got my support.
And I am on Instagram under my name. It's all connected.
You are.
Van Peebles on Instagram. And it comes out March 1st everywhere, Outlaw Posse. And again, when you make an independent movie, you're not going to have the big Marvel, advertising budget. So it is really guys like you, word of mouth. So thank you for talking to us and seeing it, man. And it makes it special when people go, I saw it. I'm not telling you to see something I didn't see. I saw it and you'll enjoy it. And that's great. It means a lot.
Well, thank you. And the last question for both of you, and Mario, you first. What's the last concert that you went to as a fan? And the reason I ask is because in New Jack City, you're forever associated with music because that's kind of a soundtrack that changed everything right there. Then, of course, you're always looking for your next project of some sort. And you don't need me to explain why music's important. What's the last concert you went to?
So I listen to a lot of different kinds of music. I did the Salt and Pepper movie.
Yeah.
I was in Girl Power Land for a bit, which was dope. I just went to a concert with Mark Canton. He produced New Jack City. And we went to he had tickets to see Kiss, their last concert, Madison Square Garden.
You saw it at the Garden. Wow.
Yeah. So I saw that, I'd never been to a Kiss concert before. I'm looking at doing a piece on Little Richard and Buddy Holly and that era. So I've been listening to a lot of that, some Chuck Berry. So I'm always all over. I was just in Cartagena, Colombia with my daughter Morgana, and there's all kinds of great music there. And so, I'm always, because it's like Sergio Leone told Andrew Marconi. Marconi was the composer for Sergio Leone, the director who did, Good, Bad, and the Ugly. And he said, it's not the director's job to inspire the composer. I think it's the reverse. So we would have Marconi make the score early. And that's one of the things about Outlaw Posse, was really happy with what our composer Dante did with the score. And he did the score early. I went to him just like, I imagined Marconi and Leone doing and talked about it. And he came up with that score early. And so I was able to have the actors go in hearing the music, which was really dope. Yeah.
Well, fun fact before Mandela responds it. Did you know that Gene Simmons from Kiss spoke at Chuck Berry's funeral?
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it happens.
Last concert.
I don't know. I had all that time to think about it. I was. But...
Something at the Hollywood Bowl.
The last one coming to mind might have been just like...
Well, you just worked with RZA. We worked on Wu-Tang, so we've been seeing stuff with the Wu-Tang folk, right?
Yeah, I don't know what my last concert was.
Well, if it were RZA, that'd be a hell of a concert. Bobby Digital himself. But the key is, thank you two for the great art that you put out into the world. Congrats on Outlaw Posse. Mandela, I think the pressure's on you to get the 4th generation Van Peebles into a father-son movie. So I hope that eventually happens. And I'll just keep checking the Hollywood Reporter for both of your projects.
Awesome. I had a great time, man. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank
Is that an avocado on your wall?
Paltrocast.